Hello, everybody. Um, this is the start to a new tutorial series. I'm, it's going to have HTML and CSS development, so basically building a web page or website, but it's not going to do much because this tutorial series will not involve any scripting languages, only markup. So, it's really for beginners who just want a basic site. Makes life a little harder to make a good one, but um, we'll get to that. So there should be an annotation popping up right now, and that annotation will lead to a YouTube video by the new Boston, who I learned a lot of what I know from, and it's going to be a tutorial on how to download XAMPP, which is the program I use so that PHP can work on my computer. And then also I'll have a link or an annotation on how to download this edit thing called web Aptana Studio. That's right. And I use this because it's like my favorite text editor. I used to use Notepad++, which a lot of others use, but this one's a little bit better and it's still free, so I use that. Anyway, okay, so new file in YT project. We're going to call it index.html for our home page. Now we're going to need yet another new file, and this will be stylesheet.css, and now I'll explain. Okay, any file that is a web page and it's not going to have PHP or any other advanced languages. JavaScript can be put in here. I'll tell you all that right now. But anything that's just going to be a really simple basic web page needs to have the extension .htm or .html. I prefer .html because I do. It doesn't matter. And that's the web page itself. It has HTML programming. Hypertext Markup Language is what HTML stands for. And then stylesheet.css. I commonly name all of my CSS files stylesheet.css because it makes sense. And CSS is the styling thing. It makes the HTML page look better, okay? And if you could see all the hand motions I'm doing right now, I'm kind of gesturing at my screen as if you can see it, but you can't, so I'll use the mouse again. But, stylesheet.css, okay, that's the styling. And CSS, I think, stands for Cascade Style Sheet, so you always have to have that .css. And it's in the same folder as my index.html, because I want it to be. So, let's get started on the basic part. By the way, we're going to be making a basic blog website. Just really basic, nothing really amazing about it, just blog, okay? So, let me get this started. Now, HTML. Every HTML page has to open with this. Actually, before that, I put duct tape because that keeps things from getting messed up, but we'll cover that in a later tutorial. Right now we're just going to go basic. And I use Chrome, so if you use a different web browser, you might come into some issues. By the way, this is XAMPP. Run that, yeah. Back to Aptana. Let's just get back to coding. So HTML is the page as a whole. Everything inside the HTML tags matters. Head, and shut up, you weirdos. Body. Okay. So head is the header. It does not display anything on the page. It is not seen. It is invisible, and it controls everything, basically. Okay? This is where you put your scripts, your styling, everything. So now we're going to put title. And the title is, when you look up at your tabs when you're in a web browser, whatever it reads like say youtube.com bballer13sn TV's channel or whatever, that's the title, okay? And there's that little icon next to it, that's the favicon. We'll cover those in a later tutorial. They're kind of difficult, believe it or not. So title, and we're just going to call this YouTube project, okay? And then we're going to link, and I'll explain this all in a minute. Rel equals style sheet. Type equals text/CSS. And href equals style sheet.css. Perfect. Okay, now I'll explain. A link. Okay, first let me explain what a tag is. A tag is anything in between these two signs. Okay? These two signs make a tag. A starter tag looks like this. A starter tag is this with whatever it needs inside it. Like a paragraph would be P. A bolden text is B. Italic is I. Underline is U, and a couple other things. But you can do all that in CSS, and that's how I'm going to do most of it, because it's my preference. And you're watching my tutorials, you get my preference. So, and an ending tag, a closing tag, so that the page knows when something is when a tag is done, everything inside it needs this. Everything past it is no longer inside it. You put a slash like next that's under your question mark. You put that slash before it, and yeah. However, you'll notice this link, it doesn't have like a link here, but you will notice it has this. For certain tags like image tags, link tags, and a couple others, they don't need the closing tag. You just close it right after you're done assigning the attributes. And attributes are anything that go inside the tag, but not inside the tag's like this. This is called the inner HTML of the tag. This is called the attributes of the tag. This is called the closing of the tag, and this is called the closing tag. Okay? So now let me explain what this is. Link is basically load this file and use its inner properties and stuff. So link and then rel equals style sheet. I don't know what rel means, but all I know is it's necessary for this tag. Style sheet is like I said earlier, the styling of the page. It controls how things look, okay? The type equals text/CSS. It defines what kind of page or what kind of coding the link is having, and in this case, we wrote it in text, and it's a CSS file, okay? And href is a link, or how can I describe href? Href is used in link tags also, and anything that goes to a different page, it needs to find that different page. Like when you click on a link, it has an href. I'll explain that later. Anyway, href equals style sheet.css. So we find the file, and it's in the same folder, so we can just put the file name. Okay. So, yeah. Now body, and we're just going to do a simple paragraph. And inside this paragraph, we're going to write hello world. Okay? So we're going to save. And in the style sheet, we're going to write, and I'll explain this all after I write it, body, curly bracket. It's sort of like a scripting language, but it isn't. Okay? And background. If any of you know what hexadecimal codes are, you'll understand this pretty well. Okay, so save, and now I can go load the project, and here's our page so far. Pretty ugly, but we'll live with it. It gets better, trust me. So now I'll explain this. Body. Okay, well this is linked. Get it? Linked, hello. This file is linked to the index.html. So this file is then put in and so this file finds everything that is a body. And body is the web page that you see. Everything you see is inside the body, okay? So body and yeah. Curly braces. Okay. Those are required to tell CSS when you're done editing a certain tag or element. That I forgot to tell you. This is the HTML element, this is the head element, this is the body element, this is the title element, this is the link element, and this is the paragraph element. Elements are everything that require a tag, and everything within them, and together they form an element, okay? So, this changes how elements look, and this defines the elements and what needs to be in them. Okay, so body, we changed its background color to a kind of really bright gray next to white, but not so white that it blinds you, okay? And now we're going to do text decoration underline, and I'll show you what this looks like now. Okay, so now I refresh the page and it's underlined. Now I'll explain this. Anyway, first I'll explain this. Background. It changes the background, how the background looks. The very bottom layer of the tag. And since body is the very bottom layer, it is the background of the entire page, okay? And we set it to a hexadecimal color, and you'll have to figure out hexadecimal colors for yourself. I'll put a link in the description to a place where you can, it's a nice editor to find out what each color is, so you can do it nice and easy. Just copy the code and stuff. But I'm pretty good with hexadecimal colors. I don't use that too often. I just play around with the numbers until I find out what I want. Anyway, it does make sense, trust me. You'll just have to study that. So we set the background to just off-white. And then paragraph, which is indexed by a P, because it'd be really annoying if you had to type out paragraph every time you wanted a paragraph. And you are changing everything within the paragraph, okay? So we made everything underlined, all the text in it underlined. And now let's say make it have its own background that is just under black, like just above black. So we'll go 0B, 0B, 0B. Okay, now watch. You can't see the text unless you highlight it. That's a problem, but at least we have a background for our paragraph now, okay? So background, okay. Now we're going to change the color of the text, which is just indexed by color, and we're going to change it to the same color as our background for the entire page. Now you can see it nice and easy, okay? Still pretty ugly looking page, but it's getting some life to it. And how long have I been recording? 15 minutes. Okay. That's it for this tutorial. The next one will be up soon too. And yeah. Bye.